Looking at the My Anime List page for Akashic Records was like an out-of-body experience. I clicked on it because it was the most popular non-sequel on the seasonal chart, and the sense of deja vu that it gave me for fall of 2015 was palpable.
So you're comparing a show that came out in the year 2017 to a show that came out in 2015. Oh, it's gonna be one of those videos. Well, hey, I'm glad you guys decided to stop by for another video. I know that a couple of you guys actually like it, and then there's some that aren't, but that's okay. I'm still just trying to find my audience. But for some people, it's actually a little bit easier than that because they've been doing it for a while, aka Digibro. He's what the entire community knows as a anime YouTuber. I wouldn't really consider myself one of those. I just casually like anime and I casually like games. It's just what I do. He has almost 300,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, and that's a lot. That's probably more than I'll ever see as long as I may or may not do this. But the thing that really irks me about Digibro isn't his knowledge. I mean, he's really knowledgeable. It's just that he steps on a lot of people's fingers when it comes to shows that they like or may be interested in, and then discounts it as something completely different, as you'll probably see in this video. But with that, let's go ahead and get into the video.
I clicked on it because it was the most popular non-sequel on the seasonal chart, and the sense of deja vu that it gave me for fall of 2015 was palpable.
I see what you're doing there. So he's referencing a show that came out in fall of 2015 called Asterix War, and it's really not that great of a show. It's just kind of bland and weird. It's kind of like Sword Art Online.
School uniforms with midriffs and garter belts, 3 straight episode thumbnails of Tsundere blushing in front of a chalkboard. Actually, all 4 images are in front of a chalkboard, which is particularly mind-numbing.
Okay, first I will go ahead and just say that the garter belt thing is a little obnoxious. I really don't care that much for them, but I mean, this isn't a real show that anyone's really going to care about. It's just a great show that if you're going to watch, you're going to have fun watching it. Secondly, if you actually watched most of the show, then you would know that it takes place inside of the school. That's the whole basis of the show, is that the main character, Glenn Radars, is a teacher. That's what he does. That's what he's signed up to be. Although he's not really committed to it at first, he then sees the benefits of it later once he knows what his students are all about. So the thumbnail thing is just you trying to look into something and say that it doesn't look like something that's going to be good because it takes place in the same location. And as a side note, do you know who produces those thumbnails? It's Crunchyroll. It's provided by Crunchyroll. Those are the things that are provided, and they're from the place that you would probably watch anime.
Genres listed: action, magic, fantasy, and school. Source: light novel, as if I had to tell you.
This is a stupid point. All you're saying is that these genres and this source material are similar, so therefore it's probably not very good. You know what? I did a little bit of my own research because, that's what I like to do whenever I'm not watching anime, is I like to research it. So I did, and I typed in for the genre searches music, sci-fi, and action. And of course, this is all based on the genres that are in Symphogear, which is, of course, my favorite show of all time. Just to me, this is my favorite thing. But I looked it up, and another show that was highly rated was Macross. It's interesting how the genres are shared, and even the source material, with them being original series, somehow they're both shows that are really good. It's incredible. It's almost like they're almost nothing alike, but they're the same thing at the same time.
I would have to be a total fucking idiot to watch this show. That's not to say that anyone who watches it is an idiot. I'm sure a lot of people will really enjoy this show and have a great time with it. But as the author of the 900-part series The Asterisk War Sucks, I think it's pretty clear that this isn't my kind of show, and that I should stay far, far away from it.
Then stay away from it. Why in the world is there even a video about this? It's almost like you just wanted to start a flame war about this show because somebody may like it. It would be like me saying Sword Art Online sucks, and then coming out and saying, well, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm just not going to watch it. I don't want to watch anything that's like it. well, then I would just be trying to instigate and make people hate me, which, I mean, if people hate me, that's fine, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and make them hate me even more.
But that's not as easy a decision for me to make as you might think.
Oh boy.
I've long made a point to at least try out every single new show which debuts, on the off chance that it's nothing like what it seems and that everyone talking about it sees it differently from how I would. Those things have happened before. But really, I've been doing this for long enough to be pretty fucking sure about this show, yet even then there's another element to it in the fact that I'm also a career anime talking about guy.
Hashtag humble brag.
I can't remember the last time I dropped a show without someone messaging me to tell me that I ought to give it a second chance because some really interesting stuff happens later, even though I made like an hour of videos trying to explain how you can usually tell if you're gonna like a show after the first episode.
Well, I'm glad you came up with that hour worth of videos, just so that way we knew what would be good in one episode. There's a couple of shows that I've dropped in one episode, I'm not going to lie about it. Some of those just aren't my type of shows. That or the plot or the characters is just really stupid. I just can't. I mean, sometimes I can take stupid, but I just can't take just fucking stupid. I just can't.
I've been doing a weekly podcast in which Best Guy Ever and I watch each episode of Eromanga Sensei just to rip on it for kicks, and even though we've consistently complained about every single conceivable aspect of the series, I still get comments assuring me that I'm totally gonna end up liking the show by the end because of some stuff that happens later in the novels. Yeah, sorry if I'm doubtful that a series which I despise on every conceivable level is going to magically win me over in the end.
Moe Shop likes it. That's the end of this.
I get a lot of this because I talk about anime to a big audience, but it's not just me who sees this stuff constantly. When I look at forum discussions, I consistently see people reassuring one another that they shouldn't have dropped this or that show, or that if you watched it again or looked at it a little harder, you'd notice its untold depths of merit which will surely change your mind about the series.
Sometimes on the internet, people like to have things validated for them. They like to have things reassured to them to make sure that they're not insane, which you do bring up in this video, and I'm glad you brought up that point. But when it comes down to it, even for me, I can sit here and say that your shows are just not that great. What's the appeal of them? And you could tell me for hours and days how great it is, but if it's not anything that I'm into, then it won't make any difference. I don't see why checking all of these forums and just anything is helping you see what may be good or may be bad about a show. If I want to see it, then I'll see it, and then I'll judge in that first couple of seconds if I can make it through that sometimes. And I will say this show is good. I'll keep watching it. There's actually a show out this season that I saw one episode of and said, I think I'll wait. And I've not watched it since. I just will not watch it.
Well, look, I'm gonna make this easy on all of you. I think that just about every show has merit, and on some level or in some way is good. Take a step back for a moment and think about how rare it is for the general anime populace to really actually hate a show.
You see, the problem is that no one hates a show. They hate things about that show. So from some of the people that I've heard Sword Art Online is good, they will tell me a couple of the things that are great about it. But then they will also tell me, no, it's not perfect. This logic does not make sense. And even in videos that people like yourself and Mother's Basement have made, where you point out all of these flaws, I mean, it's just, that's the problem with them. He's not saying that he hates the show. You're not saying that you hate it. You just don't understand the logic behind it, which I guess people all over the internet have just kind of been getting on a hate train. I mean, I've been accused of being on a hate train for Infinite Warfare. Regardless, I still bought it. And boy, I wish I didn't.
Looking through the seasonal charts on MAL, it is unfathomably rare for a full-length TV series to have a score below a 6.
Do you know what was thought of years ago and then finally came out this year? The Emoji Movie. The Emoji Movie is sitting at an abysmal 6% on Rotten Tomatoes out of a possible 100. How do you explain a movie that had that much of a budget? It's just a little animated movie and with big name actors in it, and it just flops 6%. And we're not just talking about some rinky dink movie. No, it was 86 minutes long, which is a standard amount for a movie, especially a kid's movie, or what you would assume to be targeted towards kids. And it was abysmally terrible. It didn't even send a message to anybody. It was just that bad. So anything can be a full-length feature or a long enough series, and it'll be just as it was if it were anything else. If you had to ask my opinion, I would say things like Your Name or A Silent Voice would not work out in any type of anime medium besides a movie. It would not work as a TV show at all. The stories would just be convoluted, it would take too long to get to the point, and you couldn't split up all of these things that happen in it with the great production value that it had. And that movie is great. But to sit here and say that, well, this show is bad, and there's no reason for it to be that bad for a TV show, it's just not probably good. It can be whatever it is, and it will still be terrible.
Which by my metric is a positive score. The only time I ever see stuff in the 4 and 5 range is when it's a short series that just doesn't offer enough for the audience to feel any attachment to it, or is very cheaply made and terrible.
わあ、綺麗なシャボン玉だね。
私、嬉しくなるとシャボン玉を出したくなっちゃうの。
Kids don't care if a show is terrible like that. They're just trying to see something that's fun to watch, something that's easy for them to understand. Oh my god. This is really bad. Anyways, so because of that logic, you're saying that a show that is 24 episodes long can't be, below a show that's below 4 minutes of runtime. There's just no way that can happen. I know that you're saying that these are things that you see, which are probably true, but you can't say that about every series that's ever been on the face of the earth, because then you just start ending up looking like a fool. Most of those shows, like Ayura, that's already been shown, is a really good show. I prefer it. It's just a nice, calm show. It's relaxing. It's fine. But when you start to get to the other shows out that are pretty much fan service based, then you start to see who actually cares about those things. I'm fine with a couple of fan service shows here and there. Just show me a titty once or twice. But don't fill the entire show with it or make it the entire point. Otherwise, just make me a hentai. Just all I want. If you're going to make it borderline hentai, just make it full-blown hentai. And then I'll watch it. And then I'll give you a high score.
Scores below a 4 are exceedingly rare. For someone to score something above a 5, it must mean that they appreciated at least something about the show, even if they didn't necessarily like it all that much.
But some people just don't like to tell you what they thought about it. Do you know how long it took me to make a My Anime List profile? Just guess, how many years? I'm going to go ahead and throw you a number somewhere in the realm of maybe 10. It took me that long to make an account, so that way I could start rating things and saving them in places, so that way I can watch shows later on. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. Sometimes people just like to go on there and troll. It's fine. You just have to kind of weed through them and see what you personally like about these shows.
And if you click on one of these 6 out of 10 shows and rummage through its stats, you'll almost always find it on a few dozen or even a few hundred favorites lists with some 10 out of 10 scores. Point being that the idea of a show which literally no one loves or gets anything deeper out of than their peers is practically inane. And that makes perfect sense. Because shit, it's not like the people making these shows are a bunch of incompetent idiots. They must have gone through with making them because they thought that there'd be an audience who'd appreciate them, or else they wouldn't gamble all the money and manpower that it takes to make the damn thing.
In one of my last videos, I talked about how Jed Whittaker, one of the former writers of Destructoid on the internet, said that he hated anime titty games. He just hated them. Hates the booby games. Well, that's the thing, is if he hates them so much, why in the world does he play them? Those games are specifically targeted to the people of the same nature that either want to play those types of games or that like anime games. So they think that maybe I would like them. That's the point, is that studios, regardless of how good or bad they may be, they try to target that specific audience of people that want to watch something. You even yourself say later on in this video that people like certain things and then they hate certain things, and that's what they should do, is focus on the things that they like or don't like. I don't even see why this video even came about if you knew that you would hate this show. Did somebody come up to you and say, hey, you know what? You should watch that Akashic Records show. It looks really good. And you were like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'm a man of taste. And then you watched it, right? And then you saw it. And then you were like, you know what? This is absolute garbage. I'm going to make a video about it. I mean, that's kind of what I did here was I had to search for it because I know I had seen it before. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to make a video out of this. So I guess you and I are not too far apart, are we?
And of course, this cuts both ways. Out of the tens of thousands of anime listed on MAL, less than 15 of them are ranked above a 9, most of those being different permutations of Gintama.
Gintama's a good show. Moving on.
And just a bit over 500 are ranked above an 8, with boatloads of those being sequels which only fans of the original would watch and rate in the first place.
Have you maybe thought that if people saw the first series and they thought, yeah, this is a good show, and then a sequel came out, and then it was even better, and it topped it in almost every area, that they wouldn't give it a higher score? Do you not sequel, bro?
Thus, the overwhelming majority of anime listed on this site is scored between a 6 and an 8. That includes 2 of my personal top 10 favorite anime, shows that I would consider among the very greatest anime ever made, and that's totally fine, because it just means that they don't appeal to everyone as much as they do to me.
When I made my Symphogear video, I didn't tell anybody that they should go out and just love it for no reason. I just told them how I felt about it as a series. Some of those things in it made it really good for me. Now, it didn't rate as high as maybe Karekano, the show that you're showing here, but it was a damn good show, and one that I love and I hold really near and dear to my heart. So if this show, Akashic Records, did not appeal to you, why in the world did you make this video?
There is no such thing as a universally beloved piece of art.
Holy shit, he just said if you think universal critical acclaim is real, then you think racism is good. Boy, I'm sure my ancestors would love to hear more about how racism was great. If a movie has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm sure they would fucking knock over dead knowing that there might be a movie that everyone pretty much loves.
Your Name is the highest rated anime on MAL, and even it has 2,500 people who scored it below a 6, no less than 30 of whom saw fit to write reviews explaining themselves.
People don't need to explain anything to anybody about how they feel. They can just watch something and say, I just didn't like it. And they don't have to give you a reason. People like me don't have to give you a reason why certain shows are bad. I can just say they're bad. I'm a grown man, but I use a girl avatar. Get over it.
So if there's no anime that's for everyone, and also virtually no anime that's for no one, then where does this desperation come from for others to recognize what's good about your show? I think it comes from this weird feeling that we sometimes get where we need our show to be recognized for what we see in it. When someone tells us that they didn't like our show, we start wondering if there's something wrong with us for liking it, or if something's wrong with them for not liking it, even though we know that taste is a thing and that everyone has it because, like, of course, that's obvious, isn't it?
If someone doesn't like Symphogear, I'm not going to find out why they didn't like it. I mean, obviously you didn't like it in the 3 episodes that you saw, but I'm not going to sit here and try to figure it out. I don't care that much. I just know what's important to me and what I like. And like you said, people have taste, and that's what makes everybody different. See, some people prefer gore-filled anime, and that's fine. They can watch whatever they want. I just prefer to watch a little bit of everything. I'm not going to say, oh, well, this one has music in it. I think it might just be trying to copy. No, I just have particular taste. If it looks stupid, I'm not going to watch it. And if it looks good, then I'll give it a chance. It's not that hard of a concept. It never has been.
And yet there's still this compulsion when someone's shitting on our show to beg them to look at it differently and realize that there's more to it than they think.
As the women of TLC once said, ain't too proud to beg. But that's the thing, is I've never begged anyone to go back and watch a show that I liked and told them, well, you might like it. Just watch it. You can give it a chance. I've never begged them to do that.
But if I'm here to preach something in this video, it's for everyone to chill out and just like or don't like what you like or don't like. Talk about it, sure, but don't worry about if others feel the same way. When I wrote about Girlish Number or Maid Dragon, I didn't expect anyone to change their mind about the shows or even to appreciate the things that I did about them. I just wanted others to understand why someone might have liked them, to recognize the existence of someone who feels this way about things and who is hardly alone in that.
Then why does this video about Akashic Records, why does it exist?
Likewise when I tore into Scum's Wish, which is obviously a good show to a hell of a lot of people, but just not to me. And to all of the people who beg me to give another shot at a show that I dropped in the first 5 minutes because it pissed me off for some esoteric personal reason, I present the following. Exhibit A, my on-hold list. This is a list of over 130 shows that I watched at least one episode of, concluded that I liked them enough to continue, and still haven't gotten back to. Exhibit B, my plan to watch list. This is a list of over 130 shows that I know enough about to be interested in watching and still haven't gotten around to. And Exhibit C, Eureka 7.
Boy, there's a lot to sift through right here, but we're gonna go ahead and take this one nice and slow. So, you're telling me that it's okay when you make a video ripping on Scum's Wish, which people probably thought was a really good drama series, and it's okay, but you're arguing the fact that people are going to tell you to pick it up and watch it again, as they would with Akashic Records. I'm just trying to understand the rules of the blame game that we're trying to play here. I mean, it's fine if people don't like a show. That's the entire video. I can't believe I'm saying this probably for the 15th time. It doesn't fucking matter. I mean, come on, like, the salt is real with me, I understand, but Jesus Christ, man. Can you not see that people just like shit? They just like it. As far as your anime list goes, I looked it up so that way I could see a little bit of the numbers that may not be anywhere close to mine, simply because I haven't gotten around to recording every single thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, he does stay true to his word about close to 130 being on hold and planned to watch, which is enough content that you could safely go into watching pretty much any show and then think about how good or bad it may be, especially if you've seen one episode of the on-hold ones. And like I said before, you've already dropped Symphogear after watching 3 episodes of it. I went there and I was like, you know what, I know I've seen it before. I know I've seen it on his list. 3 episodes is what it took for you to say, nah fam, I'm good. It's fine. I don't need your validation to say that it's a good show. I mean, that's all there is to it if that's what we're getting down to. Some people say they absolutely hate it. They hate the characters. They think they're whiny. That's fine. It's not like I'm going to make a video about them. Or will I?
This was my favorite anime from 2007 through 2011, and I haven't rewatched it in like 8 years because it's 50 episodes long.
I'm really sorry that this was your favorite anime. I am really sorry that this was at one point your favorite anime series. I mean, the environments and the concept is pretty neat, but the characters are just they're just kind of assholes. I mean, I guess I kind of am sometimes too, but they treat Renton like shit the entire series. Like, pretty much 75% of the time that he's out there, they are just legitimately making him feel like human garbage.
I'd really like to know if it would make it into my top 10 list if I watched it today.
Probably not.
There are 2 possibilities which await me in my future. Either humanity is going to find the path to immortality within my lifetime, and I'll still work too much and have too many different interests to ever watch all of the shows that I want to, because in a post-scarcity world, everyone will be making art constantly, or I'm going to die long before I get around to consuming every single piece of art which I might find something to like about.
I'm guessing in one of those situations, you're still not going to watch Akashic Records. I'm guessing that's what the pun is, isn't it?
In the meantime, I'm going to choose my priorities carefully and skip out on Akashic Records for now.
I called that shit. I just want you to know that I 100% called that shit. I know I've seen it a million times, but even if you hadn't, this thing was coming from a mile away. Because how else are you going to wrap up this video?
Since you've chosen to spend some of your limited time on this earth watching my YouTube videos, I'd really appreciate it if you could contribute to their continued existence.
Holy shit, $5,000 a month? And people are paying him that much? I swear to you, if I had $5,000 on my Patreon, there is no way in the world I would be at work doing something else. I would be here making YouTube videos nonstop for you guys. I would quit everything. I would be able to live in my house. I'd be able to buy groceries, take care of my dog even better. She'd be able to go to the spa. My dog goes to a day spa. And then I'd be able to afford a better computer to process these videos quicker and better equipment. How in the world does he get paid this much for this? See, guys, that's where I'm messing up at. See, that's where I'm fucking up. I need to be on that kind of grind right there.
I've just made a huge change to my Patreon, moving it to a monthly payment system so that it can fund a greater variety of content across all of my channels, and I'm also offering exclusive podcast shows and live streams as backer rewards now, so if you've never checked out the Patreon before, now is a great time to give it a gander.
You see, that's the thing that bugs me about Patreon, or at least yours in particular, Digibro, is that you're putting content behind a paywall. And one thing I don't ever really want to do is put my content behind a paywall where no one can access it. Even my videos here on YouTube aren't even monetized. The ones on VidMe, they're not monetized either. That's retarded. Why in the world would I do that? You know, there are some people that put things behind a paywall on Patreon. Those people are what I call Xbots. And they are the ones that run a podcast called Mooch and Crap in the Morning. And you could be on their podcast if you give them $50 of your money. Just $50. Just give it to them. And you will be on their podcast. But the stipulations are that you have to tell them a week in advance. And if they think that you're too much drama, you can't be on it. You just cannot participate. For people that you think are your allies, I will never do that with my Patreon.
Check out my other channels for more alternative content, and as always, thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Oh my gosh, it's finally over. And it makes me not want to use see you in the next one anymore. I mean, I just kind of came up with it on the spot because everybody says it, but geez, this video hurt me really bad. I'm happy that it's over. I can finally rest now. The damage is done. I think it is probably time for some closing thoughts on what I truly think. I mean, if you like a show or if you like a certain genre, give the show that you're interested in a chance. And if you don't like it, then just don't watch it. You don't have to make a video about Akashic Records and how people are going to tell you, well, you should watch it just to make sure. If you don't like it, then you don't need anybody else's validation to do anything. You don't need their recommendation to watch something. But if my friends ask me for a show that's like something else, I can tell them, well, there's a list of shows that people do like. I mean, I personally don't like any of them, but here's a whole list. I mean, that's all I can do. They're my friends. I'm going to tell them what I think is best for them because I know what their tastes are. But that's the thing about anime, too, is that it's subjective to everyone. I mean, everything about anime is subjective, so people can interpret art differently. But don't worry, though. Your taste is shit, my taste is shit, and everyone's taste is shit when it comes to anime. It's just simple. If you like something, then like it, but don't go into it blindly like, oh, well, I'm going to have to like it anyways. It's just this shit right here, Attack on Titan, really gets me going. It's not really that action-packed. There's too much talking, but I gotta love it. Yeah, no one does that, and there shouldn't be a reason that anyone needs to straw man that like Digibro did. But we've been at this for about 28 minutes now, so I guess it's about time that we did wrap this up. If you guys did enjoy the video, you can feel free to give me a thumbs up, and if you didn't, a thumbs down. I mean, any criticism is better than no criticism. Judging from my last video, it seems that people just don't quite get the message I was trying to send, but I was being hyperbolic. Funimation does have a lot of people that they've hired in lately, so it's fine. I'll address that in another video. And as far as the comments, I do like to keep the conversation going because I do like to hear what people have to say, and it helps me become better as a YouTuber, or at least knowledge-wise. So it's always good to interact with you guys down there in the comments. Since Digibro did his own little plug at the end of this video, I guess I should do one of my own. You guys can give me money directly if you think that my content is worthy enough at my Patreon, or you can follow me on Twitter. It's at necro_13. And that's usually where I post a couple of things a day, usually anime related or just art related. you'll probably see some of that stuff come up, so it's okay. And I don't have a Discord channel for myself. I just don't have the power or the technology to actually run my own server, so I'm just on there. So if you ever want to shoot me a line there, I guess I could probably link it down in the comments or in the description at some point. But other than that, I guess I should see you in the next one. Sorry, Digibro just kind of ruined that for me. I'm gonna go ahead and walk away now. I'm out of here.